Welcome back for another video. What are the top all-time managers doing for Gameweek 24? Which chips are active this week? Who's the best captain? A new name has taken the top spot in the Experts League as well by a single point, Andrew Moore, who scored 55 points last game week, and that takes him up to 412th in the world. It was a pretty low scoring week in the Experts League though. The average score was just 42 points. Well done if you managed to beat the average. This week there's a huge number of transfers, only 20% are going to roll, 35% making one transfer, 29% making two, 10% making three, and 3% are actually making 4 or more transfers. There's 11 -4 hits being taken this week. On the top of that, 3% have activated their wildcard. We'll have a look at a Gameweek 24 wildcard team together shortly. But the big question is, who are they buying and who are they selling? The top transfer in list this week is Bruno, Enzo, Mbeumo, Chalobah, João Pedro, Krupi, Rogers, Rice, Evanilson, Senesi, Mane, Gabriel, Alderete, Anderson and Rodon. So 41% are buying Bruno, who's got an assist in every match since returning from injury, and it should be easier fixtures ahead of him. Though it would be very Man United to go on and lose to Fulham at Old Trafford, wouldn't it? It is another home game to Spurs after that, and then it's West Ham away. From an FPL perspective, there's a lot of value in teams not having to play twice a week. No League Cup, no FA Cup, no European football to contend with for Man United, which massively favours their assets, again from an FPL perspective. Lots are looking to double up even, and Mbeumo is the third most bought player with 14% buying him, and he's scored in both games since returning from AFCON. 16% buying Enzo, who's number 2. Chelsea are one of those teams though. They had to basically go full strength against Napoli in a must-win game in the Champions League. And then it's West Ham this weekend, but then it's another crucial game. They're away against Arsenal in the League Cup, plus they've got the FA Cup to juggle. Rosinia said after the game, quote, "I'm going to rotate because I don't have just 11 good players, I have 22 outstanding players." And he also said this on Palmer. There was no way that Cole Palmer could have started this game as he wasn't ready for 60 plus minutes. So there is a little bit of risk that comes with the likes of Enzo and João Pedro and certainly Palmer, but they are very good options and it just might not matter if they miss one of the next 4. 14% buying Chalobah, who got a rest in that Napoli game, coming on at 59 minutes for the last half hour. João Pedro with a brace as well. Both assisted by Palmer, who came off the bench himself. But does João Pedro definitely start against West Ham, or does Delap come in? Foden is the most sold player by the top all-time managers. 30% selling him, Ekitike 26%, O'Reilly 14%, Cherki 12%, Gordon and Szoboszlai 7%. Some split opinions on the budget forwards Krupi versus Mane. Krupi's being bought by 9%, Mane 4%. If Arsenal progress to the League Cup final, then they're going to blank in Gameweek 31, which was a fixture that would have been played against Wolves, and that could be moved to Gameweek 26 at the earliest opportunity basically, meaning a double game week for Arsenal and Wolves. Bellegarde is back from injury soon, who could be competing with Mane, but as of late Mane's minutes have been fantastic, better than Krupi. Just bear in mind though, you are adding a potential Gameweek 31 blanker if you buy him. And if you do buy this week, he's not guaranteed to double still. We'll know next week because the second leg of the League Cup is on Tuesday. That's when Arsenal play Chelsea, and the Premier League will announce within the next week if they're planning a double game week 26. This week, 3% have got their wildcard active, and there's a bench boost active as well in fact. There's 2 ways you can go on a wildcard, isn't there? There's Haaland or no Haaland basically. So I asked for the teams from 2 top managers going in each direction. AJ's is a Haaland draft, and he's finished top 1k and top 10k over the last 5 seasons, and no finishes outside of 100k over that run. And his team is Raya, Gabriel, Chalobah, Mukiele, Rice, Bruno, Mbeumo, Enzo, Rogers, Haaland and João Pedro, and on his bench is Dubravka, Krupi, Anderson and Rodon. He didn't have a chance to do a full write-up for us, but he did say the following. Although I got 50 points last game week, my team was not in a good spot, and rank-wise hideously below where I've been in any season since 2021. It made sense. I've got 3 free transfers, so I'm rolling the dice of being able to hold 5 free transfers through into the blank game weeks to get reasonable doublers in the double game weeks. I think the short-term necessity outweighs any long-term gains. Triple Arsenal and Chelsea because of the potential doubles and fixtures. Same with United and Rodgers, the rest are cheap enablers. In general, I'm a fixtures person, which is what I'm targeting here. And Gameweek Guru, or Tom, who's also wildcard, and he's taken a very different approach, which is really interesting because it does show there's some uncertainty in the template right now, and he's got some very, very good finishes to his name as well. He's gone for Bruggen, Gabriel, Timber, Alderete, Bruno, Palmer, Saka and Mbeumo, Enzo, Evanilson and Watkins. and on his bench it's Sarr, Van Dijk, Krupi and Anderson. I'm playing my wildcard in Gameweek 24 to attack a clear fixture swing in favour of Chelsea, Bournemouth and Man United. With AFCON now finished and players returning to full availability, this felt like the right moment to properly reset my squad and target teams entering strong runs against some of the league's weakest defences. Part of the decision was forced. I was carrying 2 long-term injuries. Paquetá's leaving and both Ekitike and Foden had become clear sells due to minutes and role uncertainty. At that point, continuing to patch things up would likely have meant more hits and a gradual loss of team value. The wildcard gave me a clean slate and a chance to redistribute funds in a way that actually reflects where the upside is over the next few weeks. I'm currently 42k overall, having finished 206th and 3,335th in the last 2 seasons. With that background, I felt the pressure to move early rather than wait and react. This is the stage of the season where small edges compound, and I'd rather take control of the direction of my team than chase later. Structurally, the wildcard shifts money into a flexible premium midfield core of Bruno Fernandes, Saka and Palmer fitness dependent. All 3 are genuine captaincy options in the coming weeks, which was a big driver for me, especially in a period where captaincy feels far less obvious than early in the season. I've also tried to future-proof the squad by keeping coverage of teams likely to feature in upcoming double game weeks, particularly with FA Cup progression in mind, including players from Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Brighton, Fulham and Sunderland. It isn't about locking into doubles early for me, it's about preserving optionality as the FA Cup schedule develops. That way, if postponements and doubles fall as expected, I'm well positioned to lead into them without needing to take hits or major structural changes. This build does move away from the current template, most notably by going without Haaland. That's obviously uncomfortable given his 73% ownership, but this isn't a bet against his ability, it's a bet on captaincy flexibility during a defined window, Gameweek 24 to 28. Haaland has scored 1 goal in his last 9 appearances in all competitions, with 3.09 XG in that period, and while I fully expect him to come back into the picture, my plan is to reassess and bring him back in Gameweek 29. So goalkeepers, I've gone with Verbruggen and Jose Sarr as a cheap but reliable pairing. Brighton have got 2 strong home fixtures against Everton and Crystal Palace, while Sarr is well placed for a likely double Gameweek 26. Verbruggen averages 2.8 saves per 90, which puts him right on the edge of regular bonus save points and makes him good value at his price. In defence, Gabriel and Timber double up doesn't need much explanation, but in a season where clean sheets have been volatile, Arsenal remain the one side consistently suppressing shots and big chances. They've conceded just 16.3 XGC, and both players offer secure minutes with genuine attacking upside. Alderete and Anderson are my budget defenders. Both post solid DEFCON per 90 numbers, 9.7 and 10.86, which gives them a reliable baseline, while Mukiele is the only 0.4 million more than Alderete. He carries stronger attacking data, which is very much a Gameweek 24 play, targeting Burnley at home rather than getting bogged down investing further into Sunderland's defence. So Van Dijk is probably the most debated pick in my defence at 5.9 mil. While plenty of managers have lost faith in Liverpool, the fixtures improved from Gameweek 26 and there were signs of defensive progress before the Bournemouth game. In the 4 Premier League matches prior, Liverpool conceded just 0.6 expected goals conceded on average. They kept 2 clean sheets and they added another clean sheet against Marseille in the Champions League. Even if Liverpool aren't elite defensively, Van Dijk's minutes, security, set-piece role and DEFCON just give him a higher floor than most defenders in his price bracket, which is ultimately what I'm buying. The midfield is where most of the upside sits for me, starting with Bruno Fernandes. He was a controversial pick under Amorim due to the deeper role, but he was still returning and posting strong underlying numbers. With Carrick now in charge, Bruno's back operating as a traditional number 10, and he's already delivered 2 assists against Man United and Arsenal, alongside elite DEFCON. In my opinion, he's the standout FPL pick this season and my main captaincy option. Mbeumo returned from AFCON straight back among the goals, scoring twice against 2 of the top 3 teams for XGC considered this season. Ownership remains relatively low, as many managers have been forced to prioritise other transfers, which makes him a really appealing differential. Early substitutions have been frustrating, but Dorgu's 10-week injury should reduce the competition for attacking minutes and allow Mbeumo to stay on the pitch longer. Saka is in with a likely double Gameweek 26 against Wolves and Brentford in mind. He's just played 90 minutes against Man United, and with around a 6-day turnaround expected in the double, I'm not concerned about recovery. Saka leads Arsenal for XGI this season, 0.62 per 90, and with Gyökeres now competing with Gabriel Jesus for minutes, his penalty share looks increasingly secure. And if I was really struggling for funds, then Rice would have been the alternative. Palmer and Fernandes round out the midfield. Palmer is the most uncomfortable pick in the squad because of his injury record. But with 3 goals and 1 assist since returning, the upside during this run is massive. Even if he averages around 70 minutes a game, that should be enough against some of the league's weakest defences. I'm comfortable carrying him because I don't need to captain him. That responsibility sits with Bruno and Saka. The only scenario where I'd abandon Palmer is if Rossini confirms in his press conference that he's not available. Short of that, I'm happy to back the upside. Enzo complements Palmer well, and he's already shown he's next in line for penalties, as seen against Palace. With 7 goals, 3 assists and 0.61 XGI per 90, he's excellent value at just 6.7 mil. Up front, Watkins is my anchor. He ranks 4th in the league for XG, and Watkins looks on course for another strong season. Abraham's arrival introduces some uncertainty, but I'm confident in Watkins' minutes over the short to medium term. Evanilson is my one favourite differential. He's on penalties for Bournemouth with Semenyo gone and Tavernier and Clive injured. He's picked up some form recently and he faces Wolves in Gameweek 24. At his ownership, he feels massively overlooked. And finally, Krupi Jr. He's a cheap bench option with consistent minutes, pretty much everything I hoped Mark Gue would be early in the season. That was basically an entire team selection video you got me to record for you there. But you know what? Thank you very much for the thoughts. It's very welcomed. Great insight. Thank you to AJ as well. And best of luck both of you on the wildcards. So, captaincy next. And have a look at that list. It's Bruno number 1 with 57%. Haaland, for the first time in a while, drops down to second choice. However, 40% is obviously still a lot. Gabriel 2%, Saka 1%. Will Man United's form continue? I mean, it's a solid fixture as well, playing home to Fulham. Bruno's back in his favoured 10 position, even more involved in the attack, and FPL review projections favour him this week with 6.9 points to Haaland's 6.4. So it's not a significant gap, and Haaland is absolutely still a great captain shout. And he did score actually in the Champions League on Wednesday night. His first open play goal in, I think, about 8 games. He's not going to be out of form forever, and maybe that was a turning point. Who are you guys going with? Let us know in the comments. Onto the experts team, and if you're in the 30% of viewers that aren't subscribed, hit the button below so you can benefit from the top all-time managers data every game this season to help you do well. The team this week is Raya, Mukiele, Gabriel, Chalobah, Bruno, Enzo, Saka, Wilson, Rodgers, Thiago and Haaland. So it's a 3-5-2. It's a strong bench actually. It's Dubravka, Alderete, Anderson and Gue. Foden, Chow and Ekitike all leave the team, and in comes Bruno, Chalobah and Thiago. How many players have you got from the experts team? It's looking very strong this week. You could even start Alderete over Wilson, but I think on current form you've got to play Wilson really. Bruno captain, Haaland vice. And look at that list on the left as well, by the way. Bruno is no longer the most owned player. He'd held that top spot for a very, very long time, almost all season, but Bruno shoots straight up to 98% ownership projected. And then it's Haaland, Dubravka, Gabriel, Enzo, Saka and Thiago. Wilson and Semenyo are the 2 players that they're not as sure on compared to the overall player base. Semenyo with a minus 28 ownership difference versus overall, and Wilson minus 3%. Final thoughts and tips. Here's what the top all-time managers wanted to say to you this week. Torrefen says it feels like a good opportunity to go against Haaland if you want to chase a bit. When it's this close of a 50-50, you can play the effective ownership game depending on your rank and goal for the season. FPL Vingia says, Foden to Bruno seems like the move this game week. I had to sell one of my defenders to fund it, so Chow leaves my team for Alderete, who's cheap and he's got a great fixture this week. I'm holding my wildcard as long as possible. The team looks okay so far. Jamie McDonald did lose the top rank in the Experts League this week, but only by 1 point. Struggle season continues. I'm still inside the top 500, but not progressed as well as hoped since wildcarding in 18. I went early this week, which is unusual for me. Foden and O'Reilly out for Bruno and Senesi with 0 mil on the bank. I'm happy with how the team looks going forward, so I'm not considering the wildcard. I just need Ekitike and Saka to come good. And lastly, Neil says, Bruno G has been great, but with his knock, it's time for a simple short-term switch to Chelsea for their immediate run. I wanted to give Bruno G more time, but with Palmer uncertainty, I like Enzo even more. I'm keeping the cap simple. It's Haaland again, despite so many blanks. Spurs are atrocious, and I fancy him to get back to scoring soon. Thanks very much for watching. A lot of food for thought there. We're going to be back in the morning with the number 1 all-time manager's team selection and the transfers that he's made already. Make sure you hit subscribe. See you soon for the next one.